Breaking news. This is Committed to Crime.
Welcome back. This is Committed to Crime, a true crime podcast where I, Rachel, a true crime obsessed person, explains a case to my husband, Chris,
who consumes no true crime at all.
And we break it down for you in detail. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Let's get into it. We have a bit of a longer one today.
Ooh, yippee.
And do you want me to just get started?
I think that's probably the best course of action, honestly.
Okay. Sources today include an in-depth coverage by the Sun News, the victim's obituary, WMFB of Myrtle Beach, CrimeTimelines, an episode of 2020, and CourtTV.
Myrtle Beach is what, South Carolina?
Yes.
Okay.
The Little PD River in South Carolina is a long river that connects to the Great PD River, which originates from Gum Swamp in North Carolina. It's a large Blackwater State river consisting of cypress gum swamps and forests. It's a popular spot for kayaking, canoeing, boating, camping, and fishing.
Do they have gators in South Carolina?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Why would you ever go out on any river then?
I think they do.
Oh, I'm taking your word. I have no idea.
Actually, I have no idea either.
Wow.
But it is a swampland.
Yeah, pass.
It was on November 8th, 2020, on the Little PD River. A woman was boating, checking the hooks she had set out for catfishing. And as she moved along checking her hooks, she began to smell something awful. The smell grew stronger as she neared what looked like a tarp draped over an object. She used her paddle to lift the edge of the tarp and immediately dropped it.
So was this like on a beach in this? Are they called beaches and swamps? Or are they called something else?
It wasn't on a beach. She was boating through the swamp.
So this was just a tarp in the middle of the swamp.
Yeah, if you look at the video footage, it looks like it's sitting almost on top of the roots because there's a lot of forestry, cypress trees, as I mentioned, like root stuff happening.
If they had gators, that tarp wouldn't be there.
So the fisherwoman found the tarp, and immediately after looking under the tarp, she dropped her paddle and began to cry. She was trembling with fear as she called 911. Underneath the tarp, she found a body, legs ratchet strapped together, and cinder blocks around the person. The body was quickly determined to be a local missing father who had gone missing 37 days earlier. His name was Gregory Rice.
So wait, it was floating, right? Even with, that doesn't make sense though, with cinder blocks.
Yeah, it was kind of floating. And I actually didn't include it in the script, so I can tell you about it now. But essentially, what people don't realize is regardless of if you weigh down a body, when a body begins to decomp, the gases fill up.
So you basically turn into a hot air balloon.
Yeah. And you'll like pop to the top. If also, like when you weigh a body down, it also depends on how you do it. So sometimes say that they wrap something around like a leg or arm. It can cut through the person's body. I think that's actually what happened to Lacey Peterson, if you are familiar with that case.
No, the only Peterson I know is Adrian. He was a running back for the Minnesota Vikings. And a couple other NFL teams.
Okay.
So, when bodies decomp, just so that way I understand, you turn into a fleshy hot air balloon.
Yeah, because all the gases need somewhere to escape.
Yuck.
Okay, so Gregory Vincent Rice was born on October 13th, 1973. He was the youngest of 5 boys, and he grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, and was the closest to his brother Steve, who was 2 years older than him. Steve spoke with the Sun News and reminisced on their childhood and his close relationship with Greg. Sorry, that was a snort.
I heard the snort. We got a body in the water and some bats in the cave, huh?
Hey, no. The pair practically shared a bed because they were just so close. Steve remembers constantly having to stop Greg when he was sleeping from sleepwalking and sleep talking. And he talked about how they used to collect soda bottles in exchange for change at the arcade. Or like they exchanged soda bottles for change that they took to the arcade.
Talk about responsible recycling. Good for them.
And they got to play video games.
Even better.
Which they loved. And so in honor of Greg, I thought I'd ask you what your favorite video game was as a kid.
Probably Super Mario World 3. What was yours?
Probably NASCAR because I had my dad's old PlayStation and that's all I had.
Was this pre or post Dale Earnhardt wreck? You don't know.
Oh, pre.
It's pre.
Yeah. Greg had his first child, Zachary, with a long-term girlfriend. And there's like no information on who this was or what their relationship was like, because the focus of this case is on the relationship of his latest long-term girlfriend named Meagan Jackson. Greg and Meagan had 4 kids together: Savannah, Dakota, Madison, and Blake. And they lived in Ohio for some time, but at one point while Greg was working for Dell, he was required to relocate and was given the option of moving to Arkansas or Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, Myrtle Beach every time.
Well, they were actually seriously considering Arkansas because they liked that they might be closer, or like in closer traveling distance to New Orleans.
Yeah, no, I've been. I'm okay.
But I loved New Orleans.
Yeah, one's a beach that has myrtles, hence why it's named that.
Yeah.
And one, I don't care for New Orleans.
It scares you.
I wouldn't say that. Well, on different aspects, yeah, it does scare me. Paranormally, hygienically, because I've seen Bourbon Street get cleaned, and I've never seen another street get cleaned like that. Oh, and there's alligators, so pass.
But between Arkansas and Myrtle Beach, they chose Murder Beach.
Well.
Or Dirty Myrtle, as some locals call it.
Or Flirty Myrtle.
Maybe.
I think they were strong. I don't think they had to worry about Flirty Myrtle.
So they call it Murder Beach or Dirty Myrtle, but it's Myrtle Beach.
Do a lot of murders happen there?
I guess. That's what the locals say. That's what they call it. What was great about Myrtle Beach was that Greg loved to surf. It seemed like it was his all-time favorite hobby. His daughter even surfed, and in an interview, she reminisced on how he would always cheer her on at her surf competitions. He also loved to golf, and I throw that in there because there was an endearing moment during the episode of 2020 where they interviewed his best friend Ryan, who talked about how much Greg loved to golf, but how he was not particularly good at it.
He's got like retired people hobbies, like golf,
Yeah.
surfing,
Yeah.
or surfing, not surfing. Swimming in rivers where he probably shouldn't be.
Among all things people said about Greg, the one resounding constant was how he was an exceptional father. You'll see, as it's noted many times, that everyone always commented on how much he loved his kids and that he would do anything for them. In every conversation with Savannah, their oldest child, she was adamant that her dad was loving and cared for her and her sisters deeply. One day, Meagan started a job in body transportation. You know what that is?
No, I have no idea what that is. I was waiting for you to explain it, and you just looked at me.
Okay, well, I thought you were pausing for because you were I don't know.
Go ahead. Try to break it down for me.
Okay, so apparently they knew a couple whom the husband owned a body transport company, and it was hard to find drivers for this company because they would often quit rather quickly. So they would hire contractors. Then after one delivery, the driver would decide the job wasn't for them. And when I say body transportation, it is what you're thinking.
I don't think it's what I'm thinking.
What are you thinking?
I was thinking cars.
Okay, it's what you're thinking.
Oh, it's people?
Why are you thinking cars?
Because there's such a thing called a body shop. They don't call the morgue a body shop.
Oh, dear.
Or the coroner's office, they don't call that the body shop either.
No, they don't, but that's what it is.
Okay.
So, I don't know if you remember, but last week you had actually asked about the refrigeration in the back of transportation cars for bodies. No.
What?
So that's actually part of it is the contractors are not wanting to, they would do one of the drives and then they wouldn't want to do it again because
it stinks.
It stinks and it's rough.
I mean, yeah, if you're carrying around, bodies that are filling up with gases and stuff, I would imagine you're rolling with the windows down.
Yeah. These were standard vans. The one in 2020 that they showed, it looked like a town and country type, but actually I found out it was a Honda Odyssey. So that's literally all it was. One of the comments the business owner made was about the smell in particular. So
back that up. They used a Honda Odyssey.
Yes.
To transport bodies.
Yes.
So in a weird way, it's like Homer's Odyssey, but with dead bodies. Because the Trojan horse, but now it's a minivan. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying?
I do, yeah.
Okay, because you looked at me like...
I was processing.
Yeah, it's a lot, but I mean, it's not wrong.
No, it's not. I think you're onto something. And then last side note on this, the owner actually shared in 2020 that his grandchildren called the van the Deathmobile.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not really good. You would have thought kids would have thought of something better.
Oh, okay. Sure. One day Meagan offered/asked to help with a call. And so essentially what this body transportation company would do, they would take a body from wherever they passed and bring them to like the funeral home or the morgue. Or they would, like, if a body had to be transported on the plane or something, they would take it to the plane or pick it up. So Meagan offered to help with a call, and her first call was actually picking up a body that had been decomping in their home for about 3 weeks. This didn't...
Oh my God. That's the worst thing you've ever said to me. That's disgusting. So I have a question now.
Yes.
When they pick these bodies up and take them to the body shop or wherever they're going, are these bodies clothed?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on... It probably depends on how it goes. But if you think about it, if they're doing an autopsy, they have to remove all the clothing anyway.
I know, but like, that's such a rough job. I don't blame those people for quitting now.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
Meagan was cool with it.
Yeah, she's an odd bird. Allegedly. Right?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm supposed to say?
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, okay. I just want to be sure.
Yes, so it didn't affect her in the slightest. The owner who had accompanied her on the call noted that she was fine with the smell, and she even picked up the body, dead weight and all, on her own. And she's a small woman.
You know what it sounds like? Megan's never cleaned her room. You know how when you don't clean something for a while, it gets stinky?
Yeah.
She's never cleaned her room. So her room must stink, and that's why she's so accustomed to, like, these things. That's just my 2 cents.
So she handled it so well, in fact, that she decided she wanted to keep doing that as a job. And she was actually great at her job. It was noted that people really enjoyed working with her. She had great relationships and people loved her. A few months into the job, though, her behavior started to change. Her temper grew, her fuse shrank. She was quick to anger and yelled frequently. Savannah also noted that she disappeared a lot. It was like suddenly her mom was never home and was leaving at all times of the day and night. Eventually, unfortunately, after 15 years together, Meagan and Greg decided to break up around Christmas in 2019.
Oh, so they never got married. They were just boyfriend, girlfriend.
Yeah, they were never married.
I mean, at some point, you got to put a ring on it. 15 years is quite a long time.
Or not. Some people don't want to ever get married.
Oh, they don't want the federal government knowing that. I mean, I get that.
Their relationship had been described as toxic, so by all accounts, this split was for the best. Unfortunately... Yes.
Question. I know I cut you off.
No, you're good.
Was it always described as toxic, or was it as she started to, lose her motivation and stuff at work and where everything started to go sideways at work? Was that when it pretty much got described as toxic? Or is it just in your notes? Like, I wouldn't expect you to have that. That's kind of a big ask.
No, that's okay. So the description as toxic was from their oldest daughter, Savannah. And I think she was more so... She said that they were toxic and that they had always argued. But at this point, it was like ramping up.
Yikes. So she's just getting a short fuse with everybody. That sucks.
Unfortunately, that same month, Megan's mother died suddenly. And apparently her mom was set to co-sign a home purchase for her. Megan's half-brother Sean said it was here when Megan's just started to spiral because she was essentially becoming homeless.
Oh, she was starting to become homeless because of the breakup.
Yeah.
Yeah, how does that work?
You still can form some sort of custody arrangement, but what it was they were all living together. They split up. Greg moved out to an apartment, and Megan had intended on buying this house that her mom was going to co-sign with her. And then with her mom passing, she wasn't there to co-sign, but she did also get some sort of an inheritance. So she was actually able to buy a house in a different area.
Do you think that with her job that they had to make that call?
What do you mean?
For her to come, move her mom's body?
Oh my God.
That was my first thought.
I did not even think of that, actually. That would be awful.
I mean, let's just add more things to Megan's plate, right?
I don't
fuel
think
this fire.
I did not see that anywhere. That would be the worst thing ever. So at the same time, Greg moved into his own apartment, as I just said. Mm-hmm. They shared custody of the children who spent their weekends with Greg. On October 3rd, Meagan, with the kids in tow, went to Greg's apartment to drop them off for the weekend. This was something they had agreed on the phone the night before, and when no one answered the door, Meagan became worried and called his friend Ryan. Ryan and Greg were working together at the time on a landscaping job building a patio, so Meagan had hoped Ryan would know where Greg was. And then Ryan became worried too because he told her that he hadn't seen Greg since the night before when they both left the job site. It was a few days after this that Meagan filed a missing persons report. Ryan helped set up arrangements with a team of volunteers to go to the apartments and set up teams to search the area. Investigators spoke with neighbors looking for tips or maybe some information about his personal life, but they all echoed what I've already told you about him, which was that Greg was a good dad, a hard worker, and just your average guy. He had a lot of friends in the community who found him funny and caring.
He's got a double life. Is that what we're getting to?
No.
Oh, man. You know how cool that would have been? Well, maybe not cool, but less of a surprise for me personally. Because it's like you always hear these nice things about these people where they're like, he's a great dad, so on and so forth. And then allegedly, like, he's into some weird stuff in his free time.
Yeah, I could see what you're saying. That's not the case here.
Oh, thank God.
At Greg's apartment, investigators found Greg's wallet. His keys were also found under a cushion on some patio furniture on the front porch, and his cell phone was missing. It was almost like he had walked off. Even more concerning, in initial conversations with Meagan, she told investigators that Greg had a history with drugs. She implied heavily that he could have done drugs, or overdosed, or wandered off while under the influence, or drowned, or disappeared.
You know why I'm shooting you a look, right?
Yeah, you're looking at me and I'm telling you to stop.
What did I just get done asking you?
Give me a minute.
Okay.
37 days go by without a trace. During this time, his brother Steve is just like praying to find him. He's sending him Facebook messages, asking him where he was, asking him if he was going to come back. But Steve said he knew in his heart that he was just gone. And that is when the fisherwoman I told you about at the beginning found Greg's body. 3 days after finding Greg's body, Steve remembers having stomach pains and trouble sleeping. He was unsettled, and that was when he got a call from Greg's oldest son, the one from the previous relationship, that 2 people were being charged with Greg's murder. While investigating... Whoa, said that weird.
Yeah.
Well, big word for Elmo.
That's a big word for Elmo.
While investigating Greg's disappearance, remember how Meagan talked about all the drugs Greg did?
Yeah.
And how she implied that drugs were somehow part of the reason of his demise.
Okay. Yeah.
That's not true.
No drugs in his system?
No. Nowhere near true. Everyone was like, first of all, no way, not possible. Nothing was found in his home. And the only record of any type of hard substance was a little bit of marijuana in his system.
Oh, that's okay.
Which is like potato.
She lied.
She did lie.
Not a good look for Meagan.
No, it's not.
She gets a little bit of money and starts acting different. I don't like that.
It was during a particular conversation with Ryan, Greg's best friend, that investigators' ears began to perk. Ryan shared that in the days leading up to his disappearance, Greg was becoming increasingly concerned that he was being followed, noting that he was particularly concerned with a silver unmarked car. Greg was so worried that he even went as far as to tell Ryan that if something happened to him, it was not a suicide. Apparently, Meagan had been making some subtle flexes, or what basically could be perceived as threats, about how she hung out with cops and that she knew people.
Like I said, she gets a little bit of money in her system, starts acting different. Probably holding like a wad of cash up to her ear, like, new phone, who this?
When detectives asked Ryan if he had to guess what happened, what would he say? Ryan said Meagan had something to do with it. And when Ryan was asked if he really thought that Meagan was capable of murder, his response was not by herself.
Similar to the last one that we did.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Okay. I'm seeing a pattern.
Murder.
Well, more than one person on top of the murder.
The fact that Meagan had a co-conspirator became even clearer when detectives figured out that the silver unmarked car Greg was concerned about was a county vehicle. This county vehicle belonged to the county's coroner's office. More specifically, it was in the possession of Deputy County Coroner Chris Dontell.
Did they fall in love in a body shop?
Chris Dontell was Deputy County Coroner, as I just mentioned, in Myrtle Beach. Chris and his wife Erica were married in 2015, and Erica reminisced on the beginning of their relationship, where Chris had actually asked her to be his girlfriend at a Keith Urban concert. They had a sweet little life, and they were just working on building their future together. While working as Deputy County Coroner, Chris and Meagan naturally crossed paths. Being in body transportation connected Meagan with a number of people and businesses, like police officers, morgues, and coroners. One day while on a call, Chris and Meagan crossed paths, and Chris shared with Meagan that him and Erica were in the process of moving from a condo to a home in River's Edge Plantation. And he had a lot of work to do because Erica was pregnant and she couldn't lift boxes. Side note, do you remember when I was pregnant and halfway through I wasn't allowed to lift anything over 10 pounds?
Yes, I am very familiar with that.
Remember when I got really mad at you for trying to carry a box for me?
I never forget.
Imagine if we had moved houses at that time.
Well, thank God we didn't. And
would we have survived it?
we made it through.
Because of this, Meagan offered to help him move, like any friend would. And with forming this friendship, Chris invited Meagan to lunch at a local restaurant called Bricks, where he often went for happy hour after work or for lunch with his family. It just was one of his hangout spots. And it was after this lunch that he noticed Meagan just started to pop up places.
Yeah, I think you couldn't have gone to a restaurant with a more ample name, because that's what I would have shit if I would have kept seeing that woman all over the place. Are you out of your mind? I try to shop where I don't think I'll see my coworkers.
Yeah.
And now you just happen to go to a restaurant called Bricks?
Meagan would find reasons to be near him. She would make calls for him, meaning if a body was needed, she would automatically take it. And she would even appear at Bricks sometimes before Chris even arrived. And it was like she was going and just waiting for him, hoping that he might show up.
That's so gross.
One night at the end of 2019, and then actually quick timeline reminder, Meagan and Greg ended their relationship around Christmas in 2019. Every source is foggy on the exact timeline of what I'm about to get into. So we just have seasonal timelines. So just follow what I'm going to say.
And we have to say allegedly.
No.
Oh.
No. I'll tell you about the trial.
Oh, this is the trial. This isn't...
No, this is not the trial yet, but this all came out in trial.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So,
yes.
So this was... She started popping up more frequently and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And this other guy, he's happily married. He's not fooling around, right?
Right.
Okay. So,
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Because I know how you feel about cheating.
I don't like it.
Just wait till you hear this next
part. She really tried to put her body on his.
Okay, so you ready? One night at the end of 2019, Meagan and Chris were hanging out drinking, I'm assuming at Bricks.
That's a red flag.
And Meagan told Chris that she had a secret. And she told him to follow her.
Is it... Do you want to see a dead body?
Meagan got into her work van, the Honda Odyssey Deathmobile.
Yep.
Picked Chris up from the front of the restaurant. And after climbing into the car with her, she drove to the back of the parking lot, parked the car, and asked Chris, "Have you ever cheated on your wife?"
Wow.
Chris...
What a Trojan horse this is. See, it all comes back to the Odyssey thing now, doesn't it?
Yeah. Chris said no.
Good man.
And her response was, "Well, you're about to." Then she climbed on top of him and began kissing all over him.
Yeah, that's about the only time it's okay to hit a woman.
Now, one thing about Chris is that he's a family man. He couldn't cheat on his wife.
I know the feeling.
So he said no.
Yeah.
And Meagan teased him, saying he was the only guy to ever refuse her. And Meagan must have liked a challenge because she continued to pursue him.
You know, I wish she would have had that work ethic at work and just picked up heavier patients. Because that's a challenge. Picking up somebody who's 350, 400 pounds, putting them in the back of a Honda Odyssey and lugging them across town. Not, hey, this guy's in a stable marriage. Let's go to Bricks and make him shit one. We're not doing that.
Well, poor Chris. Because when you're being constantly pursued by a woman, what choice do you have?
No means no. They taught us that in the DARE program.
Chris and Meagan entered into a salacious affair.
Oh, come the hell on, Chris. Giving us a bad name.
As someone said, they were in constant need of each other, really because of their work relationship. When Chris had a need for a body transport, he'd call Meagan directly, who would call her boss to say, "Hey, Chris needs this, can I do it?" And the boss would just be like, "Yeah, as long as it gets done, whatever." No one in their life really suspected their secret relationship. So, as you know, Meagan and Greg split up. Meagan bought a home. Well, that home was also in River's Edge Plantation, where Chris and his wife had just moved. They were now living just down the street from each other. And I can't look at you while I say this because you're just giving me a stare.
I'm just disappointed.
They were just living down the street from each other, and this allowed Meagan to build a relationship with Erica and for their children to build relationships with each other.
This is some awful shit. This is just awful.
Then COVID-19 hit, and this created a perfect pressure cooker for the relationship. First, their work ramped up, so as death tolls were on the rise, the need for body transportation increased more than before, and Chris and Meagan were working calls on a regular basis. While their interactions at work were increasing, their home lives were also colliding. COVID was a time of solitude. We were told to quarantine and limit outside interaction. And for the Jackson family, Meagan's family, and the Dontell family, Chris's family, this meant that they were each other's bubble buddies.
He really does have the worst last name for this, too.
Dontell?
Yeah, don't tell nobody that. Get the fuck out of here with that. That's crazy.
You gotta stop. You're gonna make me choke. Their homes were common ground for the other family to live. Unfortunately, due to additional COVID stressors, Chris lost his job and Erica had to take a lower paying job, so the family began experiencing some financial hardship, and Meagan became their savior. If they went out to eat, she paid for everyone's meal. If she went to BJ's or Costco, she bought home...
She went where now?
BJ's or Costco.
Okay.
She would buy house items and groceries for both of the houses. And at this time, Erica was pregnant with their second child, and Meagan even helped buy things for the baby's nursery.
So does Meagan get pregnant?
Their families saw each other basically every day.
Oh my God, that's a yes.
Yes. They ate meals together, like all the time. And Erica considered Meagan a really good friend. And Erica actually viewed her and Chris's relationship, like Meagan and Chris's relationship, as a sibling one.
She must have rose-colored glasses, or she's colorblind because she's not seeing red flags.
During this time together, Meagan would complain about Greg. So she's over at the house with Erica, Chris, the family, and all she's doing is complaining about Greg. She's painting him as a drug user, someone who drank a lot, which...
Not true.
None of those things.
He went to church every Sunday, allegedly.
She called him an abuser, which I'm sure I don't have to tell you.
Yeah.
Not true.
Not true.
And it was even said that Meagan was talking so badly about Greg that she never even referred to him by name. He just was like this awful entity that she talked about.
Little does she know, the awful entity is wearing her shoes every day and putting her makeup on and ruining Chris Dontell's marriage. And then having the guts to be like, we're one little happy family. No, you're the devil's three-way.
Then, in August of 2020, Meagan became pregnant.
Who called that?
When Meagan told Chris this, he almost didn't believe it. But then his wife, Erica, started getting anonymous texts. These texts were telling Erica all about Chris's affair, and eventually that it was Meagan who was the one having the affair, and that Meagan was pregnant. At one point, Chris even intercepted a package that had been delivered that just had screenshots of Meagan and Chris's conversations, and Chris hid it before Erica even had a chance to see it.
Is it her brother that's doing this to her?
Whose brother?
Megan's brother.
No.
Oh.
Chris, of course, denied this, acting shocked at the accusation, and Erica believed him because she felt that cheating was just so outside of his character. So while they were in bed, Erica said, let's call Meagan right now. Like, call her and put her on speaker. Meagan also denied it, and she said this was Greg sending the text messages. And she ended the call saying that she was going to take care of it. So let's go to the investigation. Greg is missing at this point, and everyone is being questioned. The episode of 2020 showed video footage of Meagan and Chris being investigated, as well as Ryan, the best friend. I say investigated, like, at this point, everyone's just being questioned. So, like, there's no actual suspects.
Like the usual thing.
Yeah, just like the normal thing. Meagan right now is really pushing the idea that Greg was abusing substances and possibly did his own demise. Investigators, though, begin to realize there is more of a relationship between Meagan and Chris than they were leading on. And at one point, detectives asked Meagan directly if she and Chris had sex in the van, and she answered, possibly. To which the detective said, there's literally no possibly. If it's a yes, it's a yes.
Well, it's a good thing they didn't ask Erica.
Why?
Because she would have said no.
Well, she didn't know.
I know that, but there was all these signs. Like, come on, baby girl.
You never know, babe.
That's what you want to hear.
So they pushed more on this relationship and were trying to gauge how serious it was getting, or essentially what Meagan's desired outcome was, if she wanted them to be a couple, to which literally she said, hell no. And then she made a comment about never letting a man live with her again.
What's she going to do if she has a boy?
This is when Chris and Meagan both hand over their phones. At this point, Chris and Meagan are looking really suspicious, but everything the police have is circumstantial. They're really looking for some hard evidence. From the numerous interviews they did with Chris and Meagan, they've gotten a bunch of different stories, which all varied a bit, and it actually got really confusing as I was researching to keep it all together. But there was a pretty solid bones to it, so that's what I'll share with you now. The story at this point was Meagan and Chris had a date night. Mm-hmm. They had gone shooting at a local nature preserve.
What does that mean?
Like target practice, like they took guns. And actually, I'll tell you now because I didn't put it in the script and there's really no good place to put it, but it's funny. So you know how you made a comment earlier about Meagan being like an odd duck?
Yeah.
So they went shooting at this local nature preserve, and later when they find video evidence of them driving to that location to do the shooting, they catch in a surveillance video that in Meagan's passenger seat was a blow-up doll.
That's so weird.
And when they asked about it, apparently she called this blow-up doll Blow Up Betty, and she used it for target practice. And so in 2020, they're interviewing Chris, and they're like, isn't that weird? And he was just like, what can I say? She's eccentric.
Yeah, eccentric. Okay.
After they went shooting, then they went to a local restaurant, Abuelo's, for drinks and dinner.
Oh, they didn't go back to Bricks?
No, they didn't for this one.
Oh.
And this is corroborated by video surveillance. After this little date, the pair initially claimed that they went home and didn't see Greg at all that night. The only contact either of them had with Greg was Meagan confirming dropping off the kids for him the next day. Detectives began tracking down video footage to essentially corroborate the story that Meagan and Chris had told them. So they see them enter the nature preserve. I just mentioned Blow Up Betty.
Right.
Then they leave and head to Abuelo's. Then they're seen on cameras inside Abuelo's sitting at the bar chatting, but then using license plate readers, they actually catch Meagan's van enter Greg's apartment complex around 10 p.m. and then leave 30 minutes later. When detectives present this to Meagan, she's still hardcore denying that she was ever there that night. They ask her, well, then how do we have these photos of you being there? And she's constantly responding. It's actually infuriating. She's like, that just doesn't make sense.
I'm surprised she didn't try to blame Blow Up Betty.
And
since she's so eccentric.
They're showing
and quirky.
They're showing her literal pictures, and she's like, I can't explain that. I wasn't there. I don't know how you have those.
Yeah, she's like, this doesn't even look like me. I'm not made out of plastic. I'm not shiny eye.
When they ask Chris about this, he says he was driving the van and looks at the detectives kind of sheepishly. And he says, I'm sure you already knew this, but I was getting a blowjob while driving. And he's saying that because of this blowjob, he essentially couldn't tell them where he was driving or what he was doing because he wasn't paying attention.
Question.
He said all he was guilty of was getting roadhead.
Yeah. You want to hear my question?
What? From
the doll or from Meagan?
Shut up. As detectives are scanning their phones, they see that Meagan I can't stand.
Did the blow up thing mess you up a little bit?
Yeah, it did.
Because they don't specify. I mean...
As detectives are scanning their phones, they see that Meagan called Greg's phone 2 times in a row, just before 10 p.m. And they're able to get Greg's phone records that show that he was home all night until he got those 2 phone calls. After which his phone's location follows the same location as Meagan, pinging at the Myrtle Beach funeral home. So detectives think, great, let's get the footage of the funeral home. Unfortunately, the funeral home's video surveillance was not working.
Yeah, fortunately.
With this new information, investigators became concerned that maybe the pair had cremated Greg, but they reviewed the gas levels, I guess, of the cremation chamber, which proved that it hadn't been used. So,
oh my God.
Well, you already know that they found his body.
Yeah, I know, but sometimes there's a twist ending.
As the evidence against Chris and Meagan begins to mount, investigators are facing...
Remit.
You jerk.
I've been trying to work that in since the first one. I was really hoping you weren't going to stumble again, and then when you did, my brain just said, do it.
As the evidence against Chris and Meagan begins to mount, investigators are facing a bit of a wall because all they have is circumstantial evidence. They needed a smoking gun.
Something hard proof.
Yeah. At one point in a conversation, Chris got a little defensive and said, "I feel like I'm being investigated." To which the detective literally was like,
"Well, yeah.
'Cause you are."
In other news, water is wet.
He then goes on to say that if he had to place a bet on it, this is the detective, he's like, "If I had to place a bet on it, I'm betting that you had something to do with it." Then they found Greg's body. So you may remember from the beginning when the fisherwoman found Greg's body, he was covered in a tarp, his legs were ratchet strapped together, and cinder blocks were found next to him.
God, don't tell me Chris is dumb enough to write like his first initial on the ratchet strap with the period and then his last name. Like whenever you do sports with your kids.
Yeah.
And it's always like, this one belongs to so-and-so. So that way nobody steals it.
No. That did not happen, but it might as well have.
Okay, so it was his ratchet strap.
Forensic pathologist Dr. Susan Presnell later testified to her autopsy of Greg, which was performed before his body was positively identified. In total, Greg had been shot 5 to 7 times, even finding one bullet where his brain would have been. His brain was also then described as liquefied. Bullet wounds indicated he was shot once in the head and once in the chest, either of which could have been the fatal shot, and then twice in the left hip and once in the right thigh. So,
That's
back to
took her 30 minutes. She's sitting there trying to...
Well, it's an apartment complex. They're, you don't know what they were doing.
She knew where he lived.
She might have been looking for him.
No, she knew where he lived.
Yes, but as I will get to at one point is that he was walking on the side of the road when they caught up with him. So they could have been looking for him or something.
Oh.
We don't know what it was like. Also, you got to think they removed the body from the scene. So, of all the items found on Greg's body, can you guess which item would lead the investigative team to another crucial piece of evidence?
Keychain.
No.
Oh, well, you said something.
The tarp.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. Oh, well, I was thinking like in his shorts or something.
The tarp was a specific brand that the detectives were able... Don't you dare fucking say remix.
I didn't want to say it 3 times in a row. That's not good.
The tarp was a specific brand that the detectives were able to identify as a brand Lowe's carried. Then they somehow narrowed it further to a local Lowe's store, and they went to that Lowe's and asked if they had any recent transactions with that tarp specifically. And somehow, a la digital magic, they were able to track down the date and time that it was purchased. With that date and time, they were then able to pull video footage that showed a man dressed in business casual buying all the supplies of a murder kit. And this man was so calm, cool, and collected, he even stopped to survey the cooler of drinks and grab himself a Diet Coke, or Coke Zero, pardon me.
Wow. Business casual.
This man, of course.
Chris Dontell.
Good job.
I know that's not his last name, but it's stuck with me now.
Close enough. With this, detectives also review video footage from a little gas station just outside of the nature preserve and find Chris's county vehicle entering and exiting the nature preserve the same night he purchased the murder kit at Lowe's.
I don't know why, but I thought you were going to say he was going to go get another Diet Coke from that gas station.
Who knows?
You can't have that many. They're not good for you. Well, neither is murder, but...
Yeah, well, detectives feel that at this time they have probable cause and then they make arrests. So on November 11th, Chris and Meagan are charged in connection with the murder of Greg. For Chris, they actually went to his home and woke him up, giving him the option to go with them to the police station instead of making a scene in front of his kids. And for Meagan, they just asked her to come back in, which she did. During this questioning, Chris immediately asked for a lawyer. And I don't know if you know this, but like once someone asks for a lawyer,
you can't interrogate them anymore, right?
You cannot ask.
You gotta wait.
Questions. Yeah,
that's what I figured.
So Chris immediately asked for a lawyer. Detectives can't ask him any questions, but they can show him pictures to ruminate on while he waits. So they slide in front of him pictures that show them finding Greg's body and him buying all the items at Lowe's. When Chris asks what's going on and what could he possibly be arrested for, both the detectives are like in disbelief and they both kind of like shout at him and they're like, fucking murder.
Yeah. I mean, if you're getting shown pictures at a police station and one of them's of a body and then the next one is at Lowe's and then the third one is of the catfish lady.
No.
They didn't show him that picture?
Why would they show them the catfish lady?
I don't know. I just thought they showed them pictures of like, oh, here's the river where we found Greg. Here's the local light. Well, here's the catfish. Here's the lady who caught his body. The whole nine. I don't know what they show pictures of.
As Meagan is sitting down with detectives, she is still hardcore denying anything happened. and they show her the same pictures that they showed Chris.
She didn't request a lawyer?
Not at this point.
Wow.
When police search their homes in hopes of finding solid evidence, they find that Meagan's multiple guns were all accounted for, but they also found an empty gun box for a .22 long rifle pistol, which was consistent with the murder weapon.
Okay.
The search also reveals a really concerning environment.
For the kids?
Yeah. There were bottles of alcohol everywhere.
Oh my God.
It was described as like in every crevice. Her kitchen was lined with liquor bottles. There were some under the sink. Like, they were literally everywhere. And it was clear that she had an issue. It was also later stated in testimony by Savannah that her mom was always coming home plastered and that she regularly was getting drunk.
Yeah, you think at some point bricks would cut her off.
Even worse, they find signs of abuse and neglect. There was a lock on the pantry door, barring access to food.
Mm-hmm.
One of the younger daughter's bedrooms had an alarm on the door that beeped anytime she opened it. And the doors had electronic locks where the locks were on the outside that you needed a keypad number to open it.
That's some Dahmer shit.
The windows were nailed shut and there was spray foam sprayed around the windows to really lock them in place.
That is some Dahmer level stuff.
In some of the photos where you could see inside the rooms, you could see that all the children literally had, there were bare mattresses, no sheets, no blankets, no decorations, no toys, nothing.
I hope she gets convicted.
The children immediately went into emergency protective custody, and Meagan was charged, in addition to like her murder charges, she was also charged with 4 counts of unlawful conduct towards a child. So 1 for each child. When this news gets out, a bartender from one of the local spots that they frequented contacts police. Mm-hmm. She shares that she overheard some of their conversations where they talked about their jobs, life, etc., and that she actually heard Meagan go into great detail about how much she hates her kids. She talks about how she never wanted them and that she thought about killing them.
So they were going to be next.
Chris later testifies that he had heard her say those things before, but he never actually believed she would do that.
I mean, if she's going into all this detail about how much she hates her ex-boyfriend, what is with Erica and Chris not realizing what red flags look like?
If someone tells you that, if someone is like serious and they're like, I want to kill them, you should believe them.
Yeah, 100%. Even if they're joking around.
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody who has kids say anything like that, where it's like, I'd be much better off without them.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
That's horrible.
Yeah. Savannah later testified something similar when one night Meagan came home drunk. Savannah's little sister had been misbehaving and Meagan just started going off, going off the handle or going off the deep end.
Going off the rails.
Thank you. She was screaming. She then looked at Savannah and said, I hope what happened to your dad happens to your sister. Savannah started crying, asking her mom what she meant by that, but Meagan wouldn't respond. Savannah then said her mother was an evil woman.
An evil woman.
Mm-hmm. A week later, the pair had a bond hearing at which they were both released on bond with ankle monitors and the condition that they are not allowed to communicate with each other. But as you might recall, they literally live right down the street from each other.
Right.
It was basically weekly that the prosecutor was getting calls from the community that they were being seen together. Their ankle monitors were pinging at the same location at the same time, and Erica also caught them keeping contact via phone. Chris actually thought he was slick by saving her contact under a different name, but Erica caught it. In June of 2021, Meagan had her bond revoked, and then Chris had his revoked in September for the same reason of repeatedly violating the conditions of their bond. Pre-trial, prosecutors tried to work with Chris and Meagan, hoping that they could get one of them to testify against the other. They kind of put it on the table like, tell us what you have, and based on what you give us, we'll see what we can do for you. Chris kept a story that it was basically all Meagan. He had no knowledge of what happened, how it happened, why it happened. Investigators, of course, did not believe this, and when they asked Chris to take a polygraph, he said no.
Okay, I have a question. Is Erica still with this bum at this point?
Yeah.
Come on, girl!
Meagan created a new story that Chris had forced her to lure Greg to the funeral home so he could confront him. And then they both walked around to the front of the building out of Meagan's sight, and she basically just never saw him again. She was persistent that she didn't kill Greg, nor was she there when he was killed. And unlike Chris, she did consent to a polygraph, where she failed.
Oh, big surprise.
Like a loser.
So during this time, they were at home, right? Since it had ankle monitors on. You know what I'm talking about?
I think at this time their bond had already been revoked.
Okay. Because I was thinking of like, if they're at home, she's probably back on the bottle too.
Oh, probably. But right now, they're essentially, the prosecutors or the state is essentially just trying to get one of them to turn.
Smart.
After conversations, prosecutors basically realized that Meagan was a liar, pants on fire, and couldn't ethically take the stand because they knew whatever she said would be a lie. So they decided that they needed Chris. Chris actually denied testifying at first, but to everyone's surprise, the day of his trial during opening statements, Chris's lawyer approached the bench and informed the judge that Chris was pleading guilty to accessory to murder after the fact and conspiracy to murder. Chris's lawyer, Amy Zoromchek, said, "It never ceases to amaze me that when people create a romantic relationship, their brains fly out of the window." Along with pleading guilty, he also said that he would testify in trial against Meagan. His reasoning was that he wanted to help give the Rice children closure. Because of this move, Savannah was then moved to testify on her own behalf as well. So now we'll jump to the trial, which started in June of 2025. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, less than a year ago. Apparently, this trial was somewhat high profile, garnering a lot of media attention. I don't remember ever hearing about it.
Well, we don't have CourtTV, so.
Well, I also think it was because this is the same time the Karen Reed trial was happening.
Yep, no idea who that is.
The one in Boston.
Oh,
with John O'Keefe.
yeah.
Yes.
I know what you're talking about.
So it was actually right around the date of Meagan and Chris's trial that Karen Reed was found not guilty.
Okay.
So there was a lot happening in the true crime sphere. The prosecutors assigned to this case were known to be a formidable team. Senior Assistant Solicitor Mary Ellen Walter was described as a bulldog attorney, which, like, hell yeah.
Okay.
And Prosecutor Lee Waller was known as a very hard-working prosecutor. In her opening statements, Lee said of Meagan, "She may look meek and mild, but she is a master manipulator. She is literally in the business of death."
Oh, that's kind of cold.
Megan's defense team said in opening statements that they didn't have direct evidence or eyewitnesses to call into question. Savannah was called first to the stand to kind of set the tone for the jury. Savannah testified to how great her dad was and how her mom was gone all hours of the night, how mean her mom was, and everything I mentioned previously. She also shared the story of how she found out about Chris and Megan's affair, which is just going to make you even madder.
Probably will.
Savannah was at the house and she had some friends over, and her friends were hanging out when they noticed that loud sounds were coming from Megan's bedroom.
Ugh.
And Chris was in there with her, they realized. So later, Savannah confronted her mom, asking her if her and Chris were sleeping together, to which she simply just said, "Yeah, I thought you already knew."
Wow, what a good mom.
Erica testified about the events leading up to her finding out about Chris's affair, meaning the anonymous texts. The day she testified was actually also their wedding anniversary. So as you can imagine, she was clearly upset and emotional, but she stood strong as she testified, and she described how close Meagan had become with their family and how she always went on about how abusive Greg was. Ken Marcus of the Horry County Police Department testified to the direct cell phone geolocation data that placed the pair together the night of the murder. And then Chris testified, who he's their star witness because a lot of the evidence, some might say, was circumstantial. So having Chris be able to testify was supporting the prosecutor. He confirmed that he pled guilty to accessory after the fact and conspiracy in the murder of Greg. He then goes on to explain the events that occurred, and this is what we believe to be most accurate.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I kind of bulleted it, so I'm going to run through it.
Okay.
So after their shooting and dinner date, he was driving Megan's van to take her to see Greg. He said he didn't want to do that, but she insisted that she needed to see him. As they approached the apartment complex where Greg lived, he noticed Greg walking along the road. I presume he was walking along the road to wait for Megan, given that we know she called him twice directly before the timing of the incident. It was then that Megan opened her car door, spun in her seat, and shot Greg several times before demanding that Chris help her dispose of the body.
Oh my God.
Chris was clear that he didn't want to help her, but Megan threatened him. She basically said, "I'll kill you too." And according to him, he had just seen her shoot and kill the father of her children. What reason did he have to not believe that she would do the same thing?
Yeah, especially through a drive-by.
Yeah. Using the equipment in the back of Megan's van, the same equipment she used to transport bodies, Chris helped her put Greg in the van. They drove him to the Myrtle Beach funeral home where Chris made a container for him that they used to store bodies in a cooler. And from the video, it basically looked like a cardboard coffin.
Right.
He said his emotions were really high and he just kind of was moving through the motions of like the day-to-day. Like he just wasn't even thinking about it.
He was in survival mode pretty much.
Probably, yeah. They both went to Meagan's house after, and he sat on the couch with Meagan's daughters watching TV while she took a shower. And then he stayed the night until about 8 a.m. Meagan then pressured him and threatened him to dispose of the body, demanding that he dump the body somewhere outside of the county. And she's like hardcore, like, you need to do this for me. You need to get rid of the body. Like, this needs to happen. So then that was when he went to Lowe's. He purchased the items that I discussed. And in the episode of 2020, he was asked, like, didn't you realize that there were security cameras there? And he was like, yeah, I just was at a loss. He knew that there were cameras, but he didn't have a plan. He'd never been in this situation before. He didn't know what to do. So he just bought the stuff.
Yeah.
He went back to the funeral home to dispose of Greg's body, waiting until dark to put him in the back of his county vehicle, which was a silver Ford Explorer. So if you remember the unmarked silver car. Yeah, that was when he went to a bridge that ran over the Little PD River and dumped him over the bridge. He was in tears in court, apologizing repeatedly to Savannah, who was sitting in the gallery. He even said at one point that Greg's children talked about him in the way that Chris hoped or wished his kid would talk about him one day. His kids would talk about him.
Yeah, he's not getting that.
The love that Greg showed his children was evident across the board to everyone. And obviously he helped her with this murder, but he clearly shows heavy remorse.
Yeah, he shows remorse now, but when he was getting investigated, remember they had asked him? What was his response? Oh, I was getting a blowjob.
Cross-examination by the defense. So the defense got to cross-examine Chris. It was brutal. They tried to paint him as a liar. They pushed him about continuing the affair for so long, which he did. He continued the affair until their bond was revoked. And again, so after Greg's death, after being granted bond, and they teased him and they called him, quote, a scaredy cat.
That's some Southern lawyer stuff right there.
Oh, baby. You know the episode of The Office where Michael pretends to be Southern?
Yeah.
Those were the accents.
Oh, I don't doubt that. Thick with molasses.
Yeah, yes, dripping with molasses. Megan's lawyers, it was a pair of brothers, and they just had the smoothest, richest Southern accent.
I bet there was some, I do declare, going on in that courtroom.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I reckon now. You weren't so easy on her.
They teased him for being a scaredy cat, and they made fun of him for being scared of that little woman, is what they said. But Chris kept saying, basically, like, Meagan said he was going to kill him. He had just seen her kill the father of her children, and so he believed her.
Yeah, if I'm Chris, I'm sitting up there and like, hey guys, do you remember when she had a gun?
Yeah.
Because you guys wouldn't be talking shit if it was you.
It doesn't really matter the size of the person if they're holding a loaded gun.
Yeah, it doesn't matter the size, because the caliber is always going to do worse.
Oh. Okay, dropping bars. When he was later asked why he continued the affair with Meagan, this was actually in the episode of 2020, Chris continually denied he was ever physically attracted to her. He was like, I wasn't attracted to her, but she made our life easy. She made their life easy. She helped with the groceries, things like that. So he wasn't attracted to her. He was attracted to the lifestyle that she gave his family.
So she was a quirky sugar mama?
I guess. In a way, yeah. Last to take the stand was Lieutenant Benjamin Wells of the Horry County Sheriff's Office, and as a digital crimes expert witness, Lieutenant Wells went over the texts that were extracted from Meagan's phone and highlighted a conversation between Meagan and Chris. During this conversation that he highlighted, Meagan essentially said she was ready for Greg to have an accident, and Chris agreed. Lieutenant Wells also proved that the anonymous texts and images sent to Erica came from Meagan's phone.
Okay.
When it was the defense's turn to call a witness, they said that they didn't have any witnesses, but instead they pointed directly at Chris in closing statements. In just a few hours, the jury came back guilty of murder. Meagan was given life in prison, and her outstanding charges of child neglect were dismissed because she was already given life. And on top of that, prosecutors just didn't want to put the children through another trial.
Right.
Chris was given 15 years for accessory after the fact, and 5 years for conspiracy to run consecutive, so that means 20 years in prison.
Yeah.
During victim statements, Savannah cried as she said, he, being Chris, She said, he held me as I cried and said we'd find my dad. He didn't tell me that we'd find him dead.
Damn.
Erica also gave a statement saying, Meagan invaded our life and became the Antichrist to our family.
Devil's three-way.
I know, when you said
Circles
that.
back, huh? That's
Yes.
two so far.
I know. Chris apologized, saying that he can never be sorry enough. He can't account for the pain and the regret he feels for both families. And Meagan still stands in denial. She says she has nothing to do with it. You should have seen her in court. I mean, obviously she had this quiet affect, which I get. Like they're going to be dissected.
Well, she's
in
used to
court,
being
but...
around bodies that don't accuse her of anything.
Oh, fair point.
So
yeah. Later, actually in the interview in 2020, he asked Savannah what she felt when she got on the stand, and she said that she looked at her mom and just saw a hollow person. She was like, "There's nothing there."
that makes sense. Isn't it weird how the kid sees, or Savannah sees her mom, how Meagan saw Savannah? Because that's the way it seems to me.
Oh.
Is that Meagan saw her kids as hollow vessels.
Oh.
She did not care for them kids.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that Savannah has that, good head on her shoulders.
Yeah.
And saw her mom for what she is, a monster.
Meagan still stands by her denial, so much so that she attempted to appeal the murder conviction, actually just in February, less than a month ago. So on February 19th, during the appeal, Meagan's attorney argues that the legal theory of hand of one, hand of all should not have been presented in court.
I don't know what that is. What is that?
I'm about to tell you, baby.
Okay.
Hand of one, hand of all is a theory that states if two people conspire to commit a crime and one commits another crime in the process, both are held liable for all crimes.
Right. But would that go towards Chris with the child neglect too? Because she was charged with that too.
I think you can remove that from your brain.
I can't. She's a horrible woman.
Yeah.
Well, I see what you're saying from the murder aspect, but I think I'm just stuck on the point of, Chris obviously not too bright to stick it out, and if he wasn't physically attracted to her, then why do you keep coming back and getting honey from the same beehive? You know what I'm saying?
Because he liked what she provided for their family.
I know, but I feel like there's a better way to go about that. And continuing to go through that, I think he lied about that. I honestly do.
Yeah.
Because it can't just be, oh, well, she's my sugar mama, and then make the comments that he made during the investigations when he had with the cops, like, oh, I got a blowjob. Like, I'm going to keep going back to that because you can't gloss over that and then go to court and say, oh, I wasn't physically attracted to her. I think maybe 20 years might not have been enough for him, but I don't know. It rubs me wrong,
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, so her attorneys argued that they couldn't use hand of one, hand of all because there was no evidence that showed Chris and Meagan planned the murder together, and that Meagan had no knowledge that she was part of what's called a criminal enterprise. So essentially more than one person who are working together to commit a crime. So they called the theory not only inappropriate, but misleading because they were never really in it together. The state argued that Chris's guilty plea to criminal conspiracy and murder and his testimony in Meagan's trial placed it on court record that they were involved in a criminal enterprise. They did it together. Regardless of who did which action, as a whole, they were in it together. And senior assistant solicitor Mary Ellen Walter said, quote, "It doesn't really matter who pulled the trigger. It could have been Meagan Jackson, which we believe, or it could have been Christopher Dontell. They acted together. It does not matter in the end who pulled the trigger. They are both guilty of murder."
Yeah.
Ultimately, the judge denied her appeal, saying Chris's testimony was evidence that they conspired, making the theory applicable. Court reporters shared that they have reason to believe that Meagan could possibly appeal again, or may have intention to appeal again.
How often does she get to appeal?
I don't know. I think it varies by state or by charge.
From what I've taken from this case is she's not remorseful. She's a horrible person.
Yeah.
And the system should not allow her to be back out on the streets to do more devil's work.
Well, and I think that's where, if she continues to appeal, she's probably going to get denied.
Yeah. I guess they could do that too.
Yeah. Because, I don't know, obviously, how it's written into law, but you have your rights. And if you have the right to appeal, depending on...
See, that's the part that I don't really like. You still have rights, even though you took the rights of somebody else off the table. Entirely. Especially in this instance.
Yeah.
Greg has no rights anymore, but Meagan still does?
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me.
I get it. You're a more black and white person.
Yeah.
For Chris, Erica still stands by her man. Chris clearly now hates Meagan. He never wants to speak to her again.
Hold on. Back that up for me. What did you just say?
Now, Chris clearly hates Meagan.
Not that part.
Erica still stands by her man.
Who hurt this woman? You know what? I'm starting to think Chris did it all along. Because he has somehow convinced poor Erica to stay in this thing.
She still sees him for who he is. Like, she still sees him.
Oh, a cheater?
She sees him for who he was.
Oh, just some random coroner?
Some dude.
So just some dude, who made her happy.
I mean, she places a lot of the blame on Meagan, which, granted...
Is there just no accountability in Myrtle Beach?
Dirty Myrtle.
Oh, yeah, that does nothing for me.
I mean, she's hurt. She is hurt. She's very upset by it. She doesn't make any excuses for him. She doesn't, how do I say? She's not like supporting him in where she's like, you get him, baby. But she's choosing to stay with him. You never know what you would do in that situation.
I think I know what I would do.
Yeah, you're a very hardcore black and white person. Obviously, don't support the cheating at all. Don't support the supporting of murder.
Because you're a sensible human being.
Yeah, obviously.
You got a good head on your shoulders.
Yeah, and I mean, and Chris really made really bad decisions. And he followed through with them. And it would have been different if he had came out right away and said, holy shit, she just killed her husband. I need to go to the police. That'd be different.
No, the first red flag, if you remember, was when she kept showing up to places. You know what my next move would have been if I would have kept seeing that same person out and about?
Yeah.
Stayed home. What
would you have done if one of your female coworkers was like, have you ever cheated on your wife?
You're out of your mind. I know how incredibly lucky I am. I'm not ruining this.
Oh.
Like I said earlier, the only time when it's appropriate to hit women is when they force themselves upon you. And if you're in a loving marriage, you just get your wife's blessing to beat her ass. Not your wife, the other person.
Right.
Be like, hey, baby, can you just bless this hand right here? I got to get her with a right hook.
The children currently live with their older half-brother, Zachary, who was from Greg's prior relationship. And Savannah now lives on her own out in Ohio. And then despite Meagan's claims to have had a miscarriage, because remember, she was pregnant.
Yeah.
She was actually pregnant. She gave birth. And that baby has since been placed with a family friend. I'll end this with something Savannah shared in the 2020 episode. I keep referencing that because I got the most personal insight.
Right.
Other than just
that would make sense.
reporting.
I don't feel like newspapers. It's like text to talk. It doesn't. It's not as personable.
So Savannah shared that if she could tell her dad anything, it would be that she loves him and that she's okay. And there was a time that she thought she would never get out, but she did. And she knows she can do anything to turn her life around.
It's good. It's a good way to word it. I hope Savannah, I wish her nothing but the best in this life. She's survived her own personal hell. Yeah. She lost her biggest advocate and inspiration. It's just, the whole case is crazy.
It ended with Ryan, Greg's best friend, gifting Savannah a surfboard because him and Greg loved to surf together. And then if you remember, Savannah also loved to surf. So he gave a surfboard that Greg had signed before he died. And so now she has that memory of him forever.
I hope she puts it above her couch in her living room. So that way her dad's always watching TV with her.
Yeah. Why do you look...
Oh, I'm tired. My
eyes are red. I was like, wait, is he going to cry?
No, I am tired.
Yeah. Okay.
Emotionally exhausted, if you will, from this case.
Well, that was it.
So it's not always the husband.
No, it's not. I was actually wondering if you remembered that.
Oh, I don't forget stuff like that. 'Cause you were very quick to point that out.
It's just like a thing people say in true crime.
Oh, they never say. Sometimes it's the quirky girlfriend.
Well, we'll see you guys next week.
Awesome. See you guys.
All right. Bye. As Meagan is sitting down again with the
Can I say it?
No.
Okay. Let's say we have 4 in one episode. That is absurd. But I guess that's too close to Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, I think so. Don't tarnish the name of the Mystery Machine.
Oh no, they tarnished that already with that terrible show.
What?
Yeah, I don't like Scooby-Doo.
What?
Oh, a talking
blasphemy.
dog not blasphemy.
Yes.
A talking dog with a hair lip? No. It doesn't do it for me.
Okay, we'll come back to that later.
Okay, we'll circle back.
Okay.